So, hello student, today we will continue the same module waste handling, separation, storage followed by processing at source. We will talk about processing at source. So, this was the function element. So, we are in the second function element and this lecture is processing at source. This is one of the important topic or discussion before going for collection and followed by treatment and disposal. Why? Because see we had a lot of issues regarding the centralized treatment process, which I am going to talk in the during our treatment processes modules. So, before that is need to discuss about processing could be possible at source itself. So, if you go for processing or treatment at source, not only will reduce the waste at disposal site, also will reduce the cost of collection, because 100% waste need not to collect from the city, and you know that collection is one of the most costliest process in waste management issues. So, and also if you can treat or process especially the wet waste, that is a kitchen waste, that will be one of the best way to reduce the waste onto the disposal site, which is getting degraded, and also the odor and leachate issues will come up in the landfill site. So, we will start the processing of wet waste. So, the processing of solid waste at residential dwellings is used to reduce the volume, so that volume for the collection of waste and at disposal site. Also for the recovering of some useful materials. There are a lot of waste materials which are easily we can use, and also to change the physical form of the solid waste. That is the idea behind the processing at source. So, normally these are the few common on-site processing operations, like including component separation and compaction, which will increase the treatment processes further, and also which will reduce the cost of collection by compaction of the waste. Incineration, although the incineration is not possible at small size of waste, but also we will see that how best we can go for incineration or combustion at source. And very important one is the composting and vermicomposting process. This is one of the very common method, and at source, whether is a single household or as in any different house locations also can be possible. And finally is the anaerobic digestion. This is also one of the very important method. By that way we can go for processing at source, where we can get the methane gas, could be useful for the kitchen purpose, also can be possible to produce electricity out of that. So, we will go one by one. Before that, these two methods, especially component separation, compaction, incineration for dry waste, and for wet waste, the composting and vermicomposting anaerobic digestion process. Now, first is the component separation. Normally, this component separation already we are doing at source, segregated waste, where we are segregating at household level, wet waste and dry waste. Suppose if it is not possible at source or every household level, it is also can be possible that one particular community can go for component separation. And here the component separation, not only the dry waste, wet waste, also possible to separate out the special kind of waste. Suppose if you are trying to get it metal or glass materials which easily get recycled, that kind of component separation could be possible. And also possible that suppose paper and plastic also can be easily get separate out from this method. So, this operation is necessary to recover the resource from the dry waste. Also could possible that if biological waste or wet waste, if it is getting separated here itself, can possible to go for further treatment like composting and anaerobic digestion processes. like already we are doing for segregating at dry wet and wet waste. Further, the operation is very useful. This kind of operation is source segregated at household level or at community level. Now, the compaction, because the major problem in our collection is that lot of dry waste is coming, and this dry waste, if you are not compacting that, lot of amount of volume of waste is need to be collect every day. So, if you can go for some kind of compaction process at the source itself, whether it is a household level or community level, can also reduce the volume of total waste. So, could be possible to have home compaction unit which can reduce 70% of the waste. This is one of the photograph, you can see that by that way we can go for compaction method at household level. And for the apartment buildings also, community level also can be possible, but I think if there is a mixed waste, do not go for compaction method. If it is a mixed waste means dry waste and wet waste are together, do not go for compaction method. This is only specially for the dry waste. And suppose if you are not going for further segregation of dry waste, why not we can go for compaction, and after that it will get collect and get go to the recycling facilities. But for wet waste it is not beneficial, this compaction. Wet waste need not to be a compact, can directly go for home composting method or community or apartment based composting methods. So, another is a combustion or incineration. Normally we are not going for the combustion or incineration at household level, but household hazardous waste normally has to be go to the incineration process. So, it is good to have segregated this kind of waste which is having more calorific value, and also cannot be possible to treat it such kind of waste, which will already we are segregating at household level in the these kind of containers we are already collecting, and directly it will go to the incineration process. Because the incineration process cannot be worked for small quantity of waste, you will be required almost 200 to 300 tons of waste every day, or more waste is required for the incineration process. So, household level is not possible, so we can go for centralized incineration process. Now, is one of the very important process is a composting process. This is also very good method where we at source itself we can go for degradation process. This can be possible at household level, can be possible at community level, and also especially like in the suppose is a apartments are there, in apartment we will have 60% constructions and 40% will be the remaining open. So, in that area if you can have one composting plants, small composting unit where entire apartment flats waste will go to the that particular composting area, and there in the composting area first will be required for waste preparation. Waste preparation means we have to chop the waste. Normally if you have the size of waste is 1 centimeter, that is good for the degradation process. So, we need waste preparation, that chopping or shredding waste, and also the mixing of waste with the some kind of dry matter, and after followed by the degradation of waste. And during this degradation you will be required moisture content, and already moisture content is already available, and also need aeration. This aeration you can do in different way, either manual or mechanical we can do. I will show you some of the photographs of home composting or community level composting plants, where easily we can treat the biological waste at the source itself, and followed by finishing of the waste finally. And this the same compost prepared in the apartment can be used for the use in the same area, or can be possible to sell such kind of compost. This is one of the method of decentralized composting method, is a in vessel composting. This compost is made in the bags or bin, and for aeration purpose the holes are provided in those bins or bags so that proper aeration could be possible. You can see that this is one of the photograph, you can see that. So, this kind of in vessel composting method we can have. I think this kind of method is very good for the community level or especially in the apartment area. We can have this kind of composting plants, small composting plants where we do not require more manual requirements, only the chopping is required and mixing and followed by the degradation inside the bins or bags. This is another kind of one composting bin can be possible at household level. This you can see that the lady is taking the compost, the final prepared compost from the bottom, and waste is put it from the top, and you see that the holes are prepared in the drum so that the aeration could be possible. This can be possible at household level, also possible at apartment level or community level. This another method is a vermicomposting method. I think this is a well known method. You can have different kind of vermicompost unit, you can purchase online. There are number of companies are selling this kind of vermicomposting units, small vermicomposting unit. The management also is not so difficult, and suppose for the household, because every household will produce maybe around 100 to 200 gram of biological waste, can degrade by this kind of method. The small unit they can purchase, and in that will be required earthworms, and this earthworm management also is not that difficult. I think we can get it this earthworm from the anywhere from the city, and can possible to produce very good quality of compost, and these compost can be useful for the some other purposes or also can be possible to sell. And normally we use special worms like Acina fetida. This is the very well known earthworms normally we are using for the this kind of vermicomposting method. And already I think most of the cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, people are purchasing such kind of units and also producing a very good quality of compost in their house itself. You can see the another photograph, the small unit, 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet vermicomposting bin, the small bins. And this was one of the lady is known for composting queen, which is producing vermicompost and 2 feet bins. And you can see that some community level composting plants. So, this is a community level vermicomposting plant. So, as I said it that it is not possible at household level, but also in the apartment you can have not on this area, but the small units could be possible. And if suppose it is not possible at one apartment, maybe 3-4 apartment together at a community level can have this kind of plant. You will be required some manpowers for such kind of work, and by selling such kind of compost you can pay easily those manpowers, and this kind of method is very very beneficial for the waste management. And under Swachh Bharat Mission also lot of discussions has been given by the decentralized treatment process, especially for the biological waste, because the dry waste easily can be collect by the compaction trucks and easily can be go for the recycling facility. Further segregation is somewhat difficult at household level. Maybe at source metal and glass could be easily can be segregated, but paper, plastic and rubber, leather, this method further segregation is not possible at household level or apartment level or community level. Could possible that it will go to the centralized facility, especially the dry waste, but the biological waste which is creating lot of problem for the not only for the disposal side, but for collection also is very difficult process, because this waste within 6 hours the degradation is going to start, and because of that lot of odor issue will come up and leachate issue will come up. This leachate is also is highly corrosive, which is corrugating the vehicles also, and further in the disposal side also lot of issues are coming up. And if you see especially in the India or developing countries, the quantity of this waste is more than 50 to 60%, and if you are able to reduce this 50% at source itself, maybe at household level or apartment level or community level, we can easily treat the dry matter at centralized facility. And also you know that we do not have space for the disposal site, and because of degradation of this waste at disposal site, lot of issues are coming with the groundwater pollution. So that also because of this kind of decentralized treatment process, we have a lot of advantages onto this decentralized treatment process. You can see that this was size is big, but the small apartments we can have the small size, small areas. These kind of units we can easily put it into the apartment area small. You can change the locations also, if suppose one location is not useful, not finding beneficial. So, you can change the based on the locations also we can location also we can change, and we can have different units. Suppose someday you are not producing lot of amount of waste, so we need not to use such kind of units. Is a very good quality vermicompost. This is another method, that pit composting is a very old unit. By that we can produce the compost majorly onto the community level. You can see here, this is the small pit where we are disposing the biological waste into the pit, and further it is going for the degradation process. Okay. This is in the park, you can see this photograph is a community level, is this method is beneficial, only that it required the more space, and time of degradation also is more, because here we are not providing any aeration, proper aeration. So, it will be required maybe 50 days, 60 days for the complete degradation of the waste materials. This is another one unit, you can see that, this you can see is already waste is filled up, this is open unit. This is another one. So, what normally we are doing, we are disposing the waste, and also we can put it some soil onto that. So, it will not look bad also. You can buried the waste into the pit. This is another method, is a pile composting, where the waste is put it into the pile. You see these are the piles. So, this is also community level one, community level method. The size of pile may vary depending on the amount of waste. It should be 1 to 2 meter of each side, not more than 1.5 meter in height for the proper degradation method. So, here the aeration could be possible very easily. So, these kind of method can be used for the community level very easily, but only I think this kind of method will be required lot of space, and in India city like Delhi, Mumbai, Jaipur, difficult to find such kind of place, but in the parks, and can have these small composting units park, where not only household biological waste, but whatever waste is generating in the park area, that also we can use it for the composting method, and they will be required large amount of compost in the parks. So, the same produced compost can be used for in these parks. You can see some of the advantage and disadvantage of household level composting. So, first advantage, the household compost production encourage the use of organic farming and reduce the need of chemical fertilizer. This is one of the very important. So, the household people also will come to know that the importance of this compost, and can encourage the household people to produce large amount of such kind of compost can be used for the farming process. So, separation of organic waste and composting at household level ensure that the remaining waste is clean and easily to recycle. So, the idea is that if the organic waste is getting separated from the entire commingled waste, so the remaining waste, that is especially the dry waste, is clean and easy to recycle. I already told that once this dry waste is polluted, or it some kind of water or some kind of leachate or some kind of pollutants are there into this dry matter, very difficult for the recycling process. They have to clean it properly and then only it will go for the recycling methods. So, by having the composting process also beneficial for the getting the clean and easy to recycle dry matters. But along with that advantages, we will have some kind of disadvantage also, can cause problems such as odor, leachate, flies could be the issue, but household composting is easily manageable, but also need to see that proper aeration should be provided, so that the odor and leachate issue should not be come out from this kind of unit. Also requires the space is another issue, you will be required space. So, that is what if you are going for in-vessel composting, especially the rotary drum composting also is well known in vessel composting. Such kind of unit will require small space also, and with maybe in 15-20 days we will be able to produce compost. And the household compost is mainly useful for the gardening purpose, because the quality maintenance is difficult to sell, but we can try if possible to get it some kind of money out of that. There is another some advantage of community level composting. You can see this one photograph where Amitabh Bachchan is saying about compost banao and compost apnao. You can see a lot of videos in Mumbai. He is proposing composting plant under the Swachh Bharat mission. So, what are the benefit that? Social inclusion and empowerment. So, normally this solid waste management, normally we say that the corporation has to be managed, where community participations is not coming up, but having such kind of community composting plants, we can have some kind of participation from the local people. Greener neighborhoods, obviously if you are able to reduce the biological waste, so you will not see the biological waste into the dustbin. Means normally in the dustbins, if you are providing community level dustbins, where if you are disposing the biological waste into that, the leachate issue, odor issue will come up. Now, because of having the compost plant, I think you will not find it any kind of odor or leachate issue in those areas. Enhance the food security, less truck traffic, hauling garbage. So, obviously, if you have these kind of waste, almost 50% waste we had reduced at the community level itself. So, your collection itself has been reduced by 50%. More local jobs, because we will be required some kind of manpowers to manage the community level compost plant. So, can provide few jobs, maybe 2 people, 3 people, 5 people can get it some kind of work into that community level composting plant. Also will increase the composting know-how skill within the local workforce, that will enforce in the next generation. So, that is a very good benefit of the community level composting plants. So, already here the Swachh Bharat mission effort made it compost banao, compost apnao. The very important step has been given in the Swachh Bharat mission. This is one of the photograph of community level composting plant in Kerala, the case study. 2012, this one of the city called Alappuzha began the campaign of clean home, clean city, which involved all the community to manage the wet waste especially, and aerobic composting unit had been set up, especially the municipal workers were made responsible to manage the aerobic composting unit rather than carry garbage themselves. So, municipal workers had been asked to manage such kind of plants. Now, another method is a anaerobic digestion. This is another method we can have at the household level or community level. So, from this one we can produce the gas called methane, and this methane is high calorific value, can be used for the kitchen purpose, also can be produced some kind of energy out of that. Currently, there are 30 million household biogas digester in China, followed by India with 3.8 millions. This is the small photograph where we can have the different sizes of anaerobic digester, where we can feed the digester. This is the digester, the degradation mostly into this part and this area for the gas storage. This is for gas storage, gas holding tank, and it can use as biogas stove for the cooking purpose. So, there are different kind of reactors available, smaller size, the bigger size, at community level also will be required maybe 2 meter cube, 3 meter cube biogas units would be possible. So, you can see here the woman cooking with biogas in Bolivia. This is one of the reactor, is a well known, is a called company Biotech in Kerala. You can see the most of the household will have this kind of unit, and every day we can deposit maybe half a kg or 2 kg up to 2 kg of waste into this kind of reactor, and whatever the gas is producing, that could be used for the cooking purpose. We need not to clean this gas, almost 50 to 60% methane will be there, that easily can be used as for the cooking purpose. See, is another household biogas digester, easy to manage. This is the community level biogas unit, only that biogas waste has to mix with the water, and degradation will take place in the airtight tank. So, this is the biogas unit, this is the gas, where gas is getting stored into this drum. This digester size can go up to from 1 meter cube to the 10 meter cube unit, means can be useful for the 10 kg of waste per day, can go up to 200 kg up to 300 kg of waste per day can be used for the biogas production unit. This is another one, the balloon type biogas digester in Kenya, that is a community level biogas unit. This is community level floating drum biogas unit, this is the floating drum digester in India. So, in this lecture I talked about different treatment units at household level, and few cities have already started under Swachh Bharat mission having the one small composting unit or biogas unit. I personally believe that decentralized treatment is always beneficial, because it is not only reducing the waste at disposal site, also reducing your collection cost. And at centralized location, running the composting plants is very difficult because you will be required lot of area, and space is a major problem, and also required time. And if you require time of 90 days for the degradation, you know that how much space will be required at centralized location. So, is the decentralized location at household level or community level, if at least this biological waste we can treat it, and maybe that compost can be used for the some other purposes or gardening purposes for the local community, and only the dry waste will reach to the recycling facility. So, by that way we can have easily treatment could be possible. I think we will also discuss these treatment methods like composting, anaerobic digestion in the special lectures. We will go for the technical discussion onto that. Here I just give importance of the decentralized units and how best we can operate such kind of units at source or household level or community level or apartment level. So, thank you.